We cover our beds in the fall, late fall, after everything is harvested. We mulch. So what we do, we just use what we have available to us, mostly for free, from bedding from our chicken and duck coop, leaves from all of our trees, plants after we've cut them down and pruned them.
And the main reason why we cover our beds in the fall is after harvesting everything is because it's important to protect the soil. So when you cover your garden beds, it helps to suppress weeds when you go to plant in the spring.
Adds organic matter as well.
Yeah, it prevents soil erosion as well. So really, there's a lot of really good reasons to cover your garden beds.
Protect your soil.
Yeah.
This bedding is a year old, and it was bedding from the birds in this greenhouse. So they spent the whole winter in there, and we did deep litter with straw and pine bedding. So this is a year old. It's just been sitting in the greenhouse, and now it'll be mulch.
Look how beautiful it is.
Yeah, ready to break down.
It's going to continue to break down in the garden, which will be really great for us when we are able to plant in there in the spring. Last year, we mulched this garden with straw and compost. And we didn't have nearly as many weeds as in our other garden bed that we neglected to cover with mulch and compost. It worked out really well. We planted tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, carrots, a bunch of things, right? And we plan on planting lots of different crops in this garden next season, because you don't want to plant the same vegetable in the same spot 2 years in a row. It's a good way to prevent pests. It's also a good way to prevent diseases in your plants. Now this is the big garden. We only had enough mulch and compost to cover about half of it. This is where we ran out of mulch again. So we will be planning on planting a cover crop in the early spring. We'll be doing oats. It's a really good way to fix the soil, put nutrients back in the soil, replenish it. So yeah, we'll be doing a spring oats in the spring, plant it in April, chop it down in June. Then we can get our summer crops in here, and hopefully we'll have an easier time managing weeds.
We'll do a very light level, surface level till in this whole garden, just to incorporate the mulch and to help break up some of the corn stalks that are left from the last season.
Yeah.
And just to reflatten kind of some of our rows that we used, because we'll be redoing where we put our rows.
In this garden, this last season, we planted corn, pumpkins, and beans. This was one of our Three Sisters gardens. And we made the mistake of planting the same things in the same space 2 years in a row. And we definitely noticed we had way more weeds than we did the first season we did this.
And a decline in our pumpkin production.
Yeah, we had a decline in the pumpkin production. We are going to be way more strategic this year. We're learning as we go. We're still very new at all this. This was our first full season on the farm this last season. And so we're picking up a lot of tips and advice along the way, but we're also going based off of our own personal experiences at this point, which are still few.
Yeah.
These are our raised garden beds. Last year we put a bunch of herbs, medicinals, flowers, edible flowers in here. And we have covered them all with lots and lots of leaves. And this next season, this garden bed here is going to be garlic. And in here we planted asparagus crowns. That's how we prepare our garden beds in the winter. Again, it's really important to make sure you cover your soil to prevent soil erosion and also to maintain the moisture in there as well.
In conclusion, I think it's really important that we protect our soil however we can. for us, that's heavily mulching and
Compost. Using
Yeah.
a lot of compost.
and covering, but also you gotta keep in mind your nitrogen levels
Oh
with your
yeah.
compost. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we just do the best that we can, and everyone has a different method.
Yeah.
So this is what we're doing.
Yeah. And we will report back in spring.
Yeah,
How
we'll
it's
do
going.
another video for sure.
Yeah.